My name is Glenn Sanford. I'm the Executive Director of the Comox Valley Art Gallery. This is not a place I would have envisioned for myself back in 1974 when I was 13 years old. And my mom first took me into this really strange place called the Arts Alliance. It was on McPhee Avenue. It was in this ramshackle old building.
A favorite memory, I think in general, the Arts Alliance building on McPhee, and how much fun we had there and how much community there was there, and sometimes it was sheer anarchy.
There was a pile of pottery and fabric art and things on the walls and so on. And I thought it was kind of weird, but I also found it to be strangely compelling. And I started to go back there more and more.
There was so much going on and so much creativity and so much of a sense of belonging. When I first came here, I just immediately had community because of the Arts Alliance.
In 1971, when I moved here, there was quite an influx of new residents to the valley. It turned out that many of those people had a background and interest in the arts, and they saw a need for creating an organization that would bring people together and that would connect with the community and invite the community into art events that were happening.
We used to do a show every month, and that was like a ton of work. But every time we set one up, I just loved being there. I loved the fact that we were doing it, and it was intense, and I really liked the fact that in the early days, and part of the original mandate was to do all arts, music, theater.
The dances on McPhee, in the McPhee building were incredible. Just the energy was incredible, and the drama, the coupling and decoupling and drama that went on in relationships and all of that. We were young, we were really young. And just having a really good time and knowing that that was our community.
We also brought in educational shows of really recognizable artists from abroad, and we wanted to make the arts something really important, and we tried to make our plan here be partly for the locals, partly for people who were just coming into the area.
And I started to go back there more and more, especially because they brought in concerts. And when I was later in my teens, I went to the Arts Alliance, which was called The Joint at the time. Went there for lots of different concerts, and it was a lot of fun. It became more and more interesting to me, and I think that it actually set me on a path that made me more interested in the world of art. I would say that the gallery has been in a constant state of evolution. After the gallery moved out of the place on McPhee, it bounced around to a few different locations in town, but it settled for the longest time at the old pool hall on 4th. I wasn't living in the Comox Valley at the time, although I visited that place lots of times. But one of the things that I remember about that was, in the area where the exhibitions were, there was also occasional floods. And that was one of the reasons why it was really important for the gallery to move to a new, better location.
I was hired by the Comox Valley Art Gallery in January of 2002 on a one-year project to get us moved to the new Fire Hall Art Gallery. That project took 5 years. There were so many ups and downs just when we thought we had the funding in place or we had everything organized, we were in agreement with the plans for the building, then something would change. And we just kept pushing and nudging and working with Strathcona Community Futures and with Comox Valley Economic Development Society. We finally brought all of the funds into place to be able to make this happen.
One of the most important projects of the art gallery since it moved into this building is the project called Public Place Sacred Space, where we partnered with the Comox First Nation and a variety of local artists to commission and install the welcome poles that are on our plaza, as well as the public artwork created by Andy Everson, and planting a traditional Indigenous garden led by Elder Barb White.
I got asked to create a tea garden here for the art gallery. The tea garden was to supply tea for the functions, to serve at the functions that they were having at the art gallery. I thought it was wonderful, a wonderful way to introduce our traditional teas to people and to increase the education and connection to the community.
I think my favorite memory with the gallery is around a project that we did that began before COVID. Really wanted to honor the Indigenous urban community that we have in the Comox Valley. There are so many of us that have moved from various parts of Turtle Island. And so we walked towards the teachings and the history of the traditional healing dance, which is known as the jingle dance, and to present the dresses that were made in the traditional colors that came in the vision of this story, and to work with our greater school communities. My passion, of course, is working with youth. And so bringing as many young people in to learn about the rich traditions that come from all of our cultures as Indigenous people, and how our stories are so meaningful and purposeful to help us live good life teachings, we call it, good life teachings.
I love the way it's integrated itself into the community and is more involved with the demographic of people that don't normally come through the art gallery. For example, when they had the SAFE show here, and the artists were the unhoused community that shared their stories. I loved that they were able to be a part of the art gallery's exhibition, and it was the first time that some of them have ever been in an art gallery. So I love the fact that the art gallery has opened itself up to more of the community people that don't necessarily create professional art.
What we present and what we exhibit and the technology in the world of art has changed phenomenally from 1974 to today. But there's some undercurrents that are always there, and I think it begins with a deep, profound respect for artists and what they create, and to exhibit their work in the best possible way. What I feel with relief is a lot of the next generation coming up and getting ready to take hold of the gallery and take it in the direction that works for them.
We started the Youth Media Project about 3 months ago. A program like this addresses things in a way that looks at the person as a person with all their own with unique needs that need to be addressed in individual ways. And you get to make films. You get to make 2 short films that you can then show other people, so that hopefully you can transition into making the kind of work that you want to make. I think the gallery has done a fantastic job in putting youth through the gallery. Over the course of over a decade, they've had a lot of groups that have gone through.
I started at the Youth Media Project, and the gallery took me on as a gallery assistant, and during that time I have been able to grow immensely as a person and become part of community, and I'm truly excited to see what my future holds here with the gallery and my further involvement in the gallery and creating community with the youth.
What really lies ahead is this an ever deepening commitment to community engagement, community partnerships, and also being an incubator, a place that fosters the creation of new artwork, that works with artists to provide them with tools and technology. One of my favorite memories of the Old Arts Alliance was the fact that they had a couch at the back of the hall where the concerts were. And really, that's the first place I kissed somebody else. Okay. You know, here's one of the things I want to say is I'm wearing this sweater that was made in 1959 by my mother for my father while they were still courting before they got married. And the reason I mention that is it's my mom who made this that dragged me into the Arts Alliance the first time when I looked at this kooky place and went, do I have a home here? It turns out I did.